think it's recording. Okay, so hi, it's a SIG Node weekly meeting. It's October 19th, and welcome everybody. It's a slow Monday. Okay, let's get started. I will share my screen really quick, and we will get going. Does everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, Jorge, you go first.
Yeah, so just bringing up something that was discussed last week for anyone who wasn't able to catch up on the meeting notes or something. I brought up the problem statement after some empirical discovery that it seems that the Kubernetes community don't properly surface a lot of processes, procedures, how-to guides on how to actually take care of CI. After chatting with a couple of people, I think it became it became a little bit obvious. If we have templates for how to open up an issue in KK and try to debug and test a test in there, but we don't properly introduce people to test grid, how to use it, what do all the things in there mean. We don't have a lot of information on proud jobs, exactly what it is that you need to look at, the details. When you're debugging tests, is not everything. All the things are not everything is super obvious. So I propose to write something like a runbook to at least make it a little bit more discoverable for people whenever they see a test grid alert in their mailing list, or they see an issue in Slack or whatever. Throwing the link out there. I opened it up in community under SIG testing just because I figured that anything that any ideas that we might have might be general enough to actually help the rest of the community. If we take away the fact that Node E2E tests are in some other directory and they work some different way, at least the other 70% of the work is still applicable. Test grid works the same, Prow works the same. The information is going to be, we have different information, but at least we're going to use the similar tools and processes. So I threw a PR for, I guess, the first version of the in between quotes runbook. It's by no means perfect. It's by no means doesn't have it all, but I figure it might be a decent place to start. But completely open to any other thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, and criticisms that anyone has.
Cool. And I know there is somebody on CountryBacks working on Kubernetes.dev side, and they, like right now, there is a work item to convert Jordan's video on how to deal with flakes into the documentation. So it's also very very generic. I think it's mostly for it's less about end-to-end tests, I think, but it's still a lot of end-to-end tests. So it's pretty aligned with what you're doing, right?
Hopefully, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, and I guess last thing that just came to mind in the PR, I think there's many GitHub names as I know, but I definitely missed a lot of people. But if you have any thoughts on the matter, please drop a review. Even if you're brand new to this whole thing and you are not completely sure what's in there, please review. I'm hoping that this whole set of runbooks should be good enough by themselves for someone that was brand new to the community and wanted to contribute in some way.
Cool. Okay. Any comments? I think we only have 9 participants in this call, so perhaps we can start doing like sending agenda to entire mailing list, so people will be at least aware what we discussed and what PRs needs attention. So maybe to have a bigger impact than like just 9 people on the call.
I like the idea overall.
Okay, I can do that. From Ani, I'm sorry, I don't know your first name.
Hey, Francesco, it's me.
Francesca, yeah. Hi, Francesca.
Hey. So do you want me to explain a few words on this agenda item?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So first of all, hi, everyone. Nice to see you again. And a bit of context. I contributed a big chunk of the end-to-end topology manager tests, and because I still care about them. So I work for Red Hat, and we have now some more capacity to run the tests, and we are running them internally, but I want to contribute them to the community. And so expect more patches in this area and from me in the coming weeks and months. So why I'm raising this particular PR in particular? Because it's very simple and solves an issue, relatively bad issue, which you can have if you run the tests. Why didn't surface before? Because most likely because last information I have, we don't have a multi-NUMA lane on upstream on our CI on Prow. This is a conversation I would love to start soon enough, but for the moment, I'm just contributing a bunch of fix. And as soon as I have more time, I will really love to have this conversation and try to see if we can enable some form of multi-NUMA in Pro. So again, in normal times, I would just ask for reviews in the channel, but I think this is both small and useful enough to be raised here. So thanks, everyone.
Should you know what is 3.0 device to review it, or just general cleanup?
No, well, let me just elaborate a bit. The way topology manager tests, they do want to run in a multi-NUMA environment and with any SRV device. And this is the reason why they run the SRV device plugin. And this is exactly what it leaks. If the test fail, the SRV device plugin pod leaks, meaning you have a stray pod in your system. So this is in the sequent runs, it may cause issues. The tests themselves don't really, well, a portion of that do not require SRV. Of course, if you have them, the better, because you have more flow covered. But to have basic coverage, you don't need the SRV devices.
Yeah, my question is mostly like, to review this PR, do you need to know a lot about that, or you can review
No, you don't need. It's just really a pod which in the error flow, we don't delete a pod. So it's just a pod management.
Yeah, I think this title may scare people off reviewing this PR, but
yeah, good point. Just trying to be comprehensive in the title.
Totally get it. Any questions? Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know the name.
Yeah, hi. The name is Artem. Nice to meet you all. So my main question is related to the Francesco questions regarding how to test like NUMA-aware CPU pinning or in the future memory pinning, because yes, we have a hope that we will like have memory manager as alpha in the next release. So does it possible in any way to enable like fake NUMA under the like CI nodes once I'm running tests? Like it's part of kernel arguments, and from what I saw, it's really impossible to pass to pass any kernel arguments. It's only possible to pass some like cloud init configuration, and that's it. And the only chance like to pass to have a fake NUMA, it's like to create a new image that will already include all needed kernel arguments under the like proxy D-line, and just to use this kind of image under RCI. So I just wanted to have some kind of brainstorming how we can to achieve it, because like, you know, if we will have some fake NUMA, it's not a real hardware, but at least it will have some emulation of real use cases for the multiple NUMA environments. So if any have any idea or proposals how we can do it, I will happily will happily try it.
Roy, do you have an idea? Do you have a context here? Okay, he's not replying. I remember on SIG Node some time ago, Alexander from Intel, I believe, he was talking about emulating NUMA on Docker. And he was saying like exactly the same thing. So like at least you can validate basic scenario, even though it wouldn't give you a, I don't remember what he meant, but my impression was that it wouldn't give you enough confidence that it's actually working. It's just like basically you can validate some logical aspect of it, not what the result is. Is it the same kind of situation here? Are you talking about the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. Like again, like CPU manager and some kind of fake device plugin, for example. You can check if topology manager like generate correct hints for single NUMA node policy or for restricted policy. Yeah.
I can elaborate a bit. I'm teammate with Artyom. The basic need is to have the test run on a multi-NUMA machine, either fake or better real multi-NUMA machine, because in this way you can actually exercise the code which, for example, check about the NUMA alignment or the NUMA resource, the NUMA node selection. As far as I know, I must say I didn't check recently, but like up until a few weeks ago, we just don't have lanes in the Prow CI which run on in any kind of multi-NUMA machines. So I think this is probably the basic requirement.
Yeah, and I'm not sure whether GC supports it. That's why I wanted to ask Roy, who probably has the most context. If anybody else on the call knows, please jump ahead. I believe that we need it as Google for other scenarios. I think for ANTES we may need it, but I mean, I may be totally off here because I'm not working directly with that. So maybe we need. Oh, hi, Roy.
So, sorry, I think I just speak, but I didn't notice I was muted. Yeah. So is this multiple NUMA thing is on the bare metal machine, right? I'm not sure on the GCE or the COS. This like what is whether it's supported. There's also one group called top management manager group, right? Sub like a group they're doing also NUMA thing. If it's a fake NUMA, I'm not sure whether it's implemented, and we can give it a try run on course if some volunteer, yeah. But I'm not sure that whether it's workable on the virtual machine. Because on the physical machine, you can understand like the easy understand like the NUMA thing, multiple CPU, the memory attached to different CPU, then they do that exercise. But on the GCE or COS instance, those like the virtual machine, right? Yeah.
Just emulation. For example, under the KVM, you have possibility like to also pass some CPU topology that will include separation by NUMA nodes. So for example, you will have like 2 buckets with the memory. For example, NUMA node 0 and NUMA node 1. I saw the GC also based on the KVM. So I thought maybe it's somehow possible also to emulate this kind of instances, but I did not find any options under GCE to pass some complex CPU topology for such cases.
So you mean this is like a fake NUMA, basically like a mock, right? It's like
yeah, exactly. It's nothing, but from the kernel view, it's like the kernel will think that he have a NUMA architecture, but it's not true on the hardware.
I think if in that case, if some volunteer can enable it, and to monitor those tests, we can try, right, to enable it to see whether it's flaky or is is consistently succeed, right, or can help detect bugs. Because the mock, that means whether we feed it with some YAM file or some the test data, right? And yeah.
Fake NUMA, it's on the kernel level. It's like you have kernel arguments that give you say to kernel that you have 2 NUMA nodes or 3 NUMA nodes, and it's divide the memory equally between all NUMA nodes. It's not really some YAML or thing like this.
But if it's fake in the kernel level, that means you need to change the command line, right? When you set up, you start you need to the command line, then start the node. It behave like a NUMA node. Then the topology manager or the NUMA combination logic will kick in, right?
Yeah, exactly. You need to pass additional kernel arguments. The problem is that E2E nodes, the test himself runs on the instance. So if I will under the test try to change CMD proc line and will reboot the node, it will stop the test at all. So I'm from the beginning should have all these parameters under the kernel proc CMD line.
So I have one question: do you know what's the kernel parameters? You can put it here. I can see whether that, because the changes, I think especially on GCE, if it's secure boot, you cannot change the command line and parameters.
I will pass the parameters under the document. Does it okay for you?
Yeah, you can you can post it here. I can take a look to see first whether cause kernel has those options enable, right? If not enable, even you want to pass the command line, it won't work. And after that, we can see whether you can set it up, right? Yeah.
Would it be better to follow up an issue?
I'm sure it's will be this issue under the SIG testing or something like this, because it doesn't really relate it to the SIG node. I don't know. It's not the issue under the SIG node code.
So Sergey, I have one question: is whether Google Internet use those NUMA thing, because if this use, you can find one feature request, even if not enabled, I can check cause kernel to enable it. Yeah. In that way.
Yeah, let me check what Google needs, because I heard that it may be needed for Antas, but I don't know. So let me follow up on that.
Enable to support the open source. Even cause the open source, I want to enable in the production, right? Yeah, that maybe face some justification, right? Okay. Yeah, if we can leverage both, right? Works. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you get this link from Artem, one above, with parameters?
Yeah, this one I take a look. It should be easy for me. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, and we probably may want to include Alexander from Intel in the discussion. So maybe he may have some experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be great. Like again, the main problem how to achieve it under like Kubernetes side. But yeah, it can be additional.
Makes sense. Okay. Jorge, can you update on what we've been discussing last meeting about mailing list and emails? Because Matt is not here.
Yeah, so from the last meeting, recapitulating, in a lot of E2E tests for SIG Node, we use the tags node conformance and node feature. The TLDR is Matt is gonna send an email to SIG Node and to SIG Node just to retake this the conversation. There is a decent chance that we could do away with the tags, given that we build different test binaries for Kubernetes E2E test and Node E2E test, and also just to catch up on all the things actually. I guess to follow up on the super old document from 2 years ago that introduces the tags. The other email is something that was never cleared up. Was the relationship of the node conformance E2E test with overall cluster conformance. So I guess the AI was to also send the email to SIG architecture and see what node conformance could actually be, and and I'm gonna read the rest from the meeting notes. But Matt has been busy, and Matt has been busy. He's been on call last couple of weeks and can't make it to the meeting today, but sometime soon he's gonna send the email. Other than that, those are the main things that come to mind right now.
Cool. Okay. So there are action item on Matt to follow up on that.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yeah. So overall, we get in better and understand what the critical is, and like hopefully we can track it more in details, and we expanding into new areas like NUMA and topology management. So it's good progress. Any other topics for today? Okay, then. Okay, let's wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Bye.
Bye-bye.